Okay, today we're going to play a game called How Long Can I Record This Video Before My Camera Battery Dies? We're going to find out. What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. Hi if you're new here. Hi if you're not. And my name's Danielle. I make a ton of content here on YouTube, specifically talking about the life, spiritual, and business coaching spaces, things that I think are problematic, questionable, maybe a little unethical, if you will, allegedly, in my opinion. Keep in mind, everything I say on this channel is just that, my opinion. I'm just a dumb little idiot on the internet who happens to have access to a mic and a camera. And sometimes people listen to my silly little opinions.
It's not that serious. Trust me, I know that.
Welcome back. Today, we're going to be reading through some scam story submissions, people who have been wronged by the coaching industry, if you will. If you yourself have a story that you would like to share, whether it's written in a little Google form or you want to come on for an interview, the form to submit your story is linked down below. Enough talking from me. Let's go ahead and jump right in. This first story is starting off strong because in this submission, this particular viewer mentions the name of a coach whose podcast I actually interviewed on back in 2018 when I used to be a life coach, mindset coach, whatever you want to call me. So when I saw this, I not only LOL'd, but I knew that I had to read it. So gather around, let's get into it. This story will be about not only a coach, but how the self-development community as a whole can really prime you to fall for a scam. In hindsight, I feel so dumb for falling for this, but leading up to 2020, I'd been listening to self-development podcasts and content for 5 years, which drilled into me that you need to invest in yourself big and ASAP if you want to make it in your business. Okay, sorry to stop so quickly, but this actually reminds me of the conversation I had in this particular interview here, where the individual in that video explains how listening to the podcast of the life coaching school that she eventually went to and got her certification from was the thing that essentially convinced her to come into the industry. And that was kind of my experience too. So this is definitely not unique in that I think when we're at this point in our lives where we're feeling lost or we feel like we want to change in direction and we resort to consuming this type of content, I really think it primes us to be more willing to make those investments. If that was your experience as someone who has experienced coaching, if you're watching this video and you've hired a coach and maybe not had a great experience, or maybe you had a great experience, did you listen to a bunch of their podcasts and free content first? Or were you just kind of like decided one day you were going to become a coach? I would love to know, because I am definitely on the spectrum of reading tons of books, listening to tons of podcasts, and then slowly like indoctrinating myself into the space. So I'd love to hear your experience. Let's continue. I started a business in 2020 and joined a group program right away by a business coach named Jane Doe. They're all named Jane Doe. This is the coach whose podcast I was featured on. Oh my God. Maybe we should do a live stream where we react to me on a podcast from 6 years ago, because I don't remember what I said, but I'm sure it's as embarrassing then as it will be now. Help. The program was called Six Figure Consistent Cash Flow, and it was $1,200 per month for 6 months at the time, or $6,000 when you paid it in full. Okay, let me do the math here. 2,400, 4,800, 6,800, 7,200. You're paying an extra $1,200 if you don't pay in full. An extra $1,200. I've talked about this a lot, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, but it's always seemed really gross to me that so many of these coaches, and I mean, I see it in like online service providers as a whole, so this isn't really coaching specific. I think it's just more prevalent in the coaching industry. They preach the desire to, make things accessible, to be able to accommodate people. You need a payment plan. I can help you afford my program. Da 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 da. But then they jack up the price of the payment plan, so you end up paying more in the long run. Like if your intention is actually making your program accessible, wouldn't it be the same price? You just let people pay it over time? Like, I don't know. Not something I personally implement in my business, but it's always just been like kind of gross to me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Continuing on. When I brought up the cost being hard for me in the moment, Jane encouraged me to open up another credit card. Great. Take out a loan and assured me that I could pay with a different credit card every month. I ended up rotating my payments each month across 3 different credit cards. Oh my God. Okay, first of all, as a business owner, logistical nightmare if I'm chasing down a client for a different credit card every month. Second of all, never, ever, 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 ever encourage clients to pay for things that they cannot afford, and to knowingly encourage them to
open up a new credit card to pay for my program.
That is big ick. Big, big, big ick. Oh my God, I hate this. I will say to this particular coach, this is again, just my opinion, my observations. This was someone who I would say, got into the coaching industry basically the exact same time I did. I remember we were both kind of like in the same Facebook groups, commenting on the same stuff. And I don't know which coach she ended up hiring, like who was her upline, for lack of a better term. But there was this very clear, dramatic shift. Again, because we were both like, intertwined. And in that time around, 2018, a lot of like coaches, we were all like friends on Facebook and in the same Facebook groups and engaging in the same communities. Whoever her coach was definitely one of these like make big, bold income claims kind of people, because there was this very dramatic shift in her content from my perspective, where she went from just being like, I'm a mindset coach, to I used to be on food stamps and now I make multiple six figures. And I always had this feeling, and again, there's no way for me to verify whether or not it's true, but I always had this feeling that she was lying about how much money she's making. And I know that that's very common in the industry, or like to exaggerate how much money you're making. So I always speculated that perhaps this person wasn't being completely genuine. And the fact that she's encouraging clients to take out debt to pay for her programs kind of gives me the impression that she's like desperate to make the sale, because why else would you encourage people to do that? I don't know. Or we just have completely different moral compasses. That could be the answer too. I don't really know. I digress. Before taking this leap, I posted in a Facebook group called Manifestation Babes. I've covered Manifestation Babe on this channel. You can go ahead and click right here if you'd like. Detailing what I wanted to invest in, the cost, and that my partner would so not be on board with this type of investment. The comments almost unanimously said to get myself in the program without telling him. Some even said to break up with him. I listened to the former. Okay, I mean, this could be a whole deep dive in itself. I have kind of covered this concept in my 3-part series comparing the coaching industry, MLMs, and cults right here. But I think what we see a lot in the coaching space in general, particularly inside these like online communities, Facebook groups, etc., is you essentially experience this environment in which everyone believes or wants to believe the same things. They're all being taught the same narratives, and they're all believing those narratives to be true. In this case, I think it's the concept of, especially in like the manifestation space, of like, you have to believe in yourself, even if it doesn't make sense, even if you don't know the how, you have to learn to trust that it's going to work out for you. Money you spend will be recognized by the universe and given back to you, etc., etc. And so when you're in an environment where those kind of narratives are all being shared and affirmed and everyone is telling you to believe in it, I can see why you would ask a question like this and everyone in the group would be like unanimously telling you that it's a good idea, even though objectively from the outside, it seems like a really bad idea, in my opinion. I can definitely see myself 6 years ago being in some of these Facebook groups, asking a similar question. I didn't ask a question, but I'm saying if I did, I could definitely see that this would be the kind of response I get, because that environment is so conducive to this like,
just believe and it'll all work out for you
kind of mentality, which obviously if you've watched any of my content here on this channel, you probably recognize how dangerous that can get if you continue to believe it, even when the results aren't actually showing that that approach is working. But anyways, so here's why this was a scam. As soon as I got on the first group call, the coach's energy was way different than it was online. I'd been following her online for about a year and had been to a lot of her free masterclasses. She wasn't the bubbly, warm, friendly coach anymore. Her energy was kind of like she didn't care I was there. I don't know how to explain it, but right away I was like, WTF did I just do? But I'd already signed a contract that specifically said I could not exit the program, and I was obligated to keep paying for the entire 6 months if I wanted to be in the program anymore. I had no idea then that this wasn't legal, so I just dealt with it. So basically what they're saying is the persona that this person presented as in the online space didn't align with how they actually acted with them as a client in a one-on-one or group setting. Super unfortunate, but again, not a unique experience in that I've definitely heard of this happening to people before. Basically, I'm gonna razzle dazzle you with all my free content so that you give me all your money. And then once I have your money,
not my problem. I don't need to deliver because I got what I needed, and if it doesn't work out for you, that's your own fault. It's a bad mindset. You gotta figure it out.
Ugh, I'm so sorry that this happened to you, though. That really does suck. A second reason why this was a scam was that I had no business being in this program. I was just in the beginning stages of my business, and after every call, I was left feeling so overwhelmed because the list of a million things the coach had told me to do. The third reason why this was a scam, it was sold as a group coaching program, but this was essentially a course, and the weekly coaching calls were a place to come with questions or coaching based on the course. So the calls had no structure or arch to them. Everyone was in different points of the actual course, so different topics were being talked about on the call. And the course was so much. It was at least 12 modules, and it was way too much to get through in 6 months, and is probably why a lot of people I met in there were on their second and third rounds of 6 months of group coaching. Damn, so this girl must have been making bank. I guess my speculations about her lying about her income must have been untrue if she's got people paying her $6,000 every 6 months multiple times. Wow, 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 wow. Fourth reason why this was a scam. There were fundamental business things like an organizational chart, mission statement, etc. that were not covered. Classic. This coach went straight into helping you with your transformation statement. If you were new, she always pushed it to include a short time frame and something with money. Pyramid scheme alert. For example, I help XXX replace their income from their 9 to 5 in 90 days. Sounds about right, because if I remember correctly, this particular coach's Instagram bio was something to the effect of, I went from being on food stamps to a 6-figure business owner in X amount of months. Let me do some research right now and see what their bio says right now. And if this person is even still coaching, I'm not sure. Called it. I'll pop it up on the screen here. It says, from food stamps to multiple 6-fig biz, helping entrepreneurs hit their next 100K cash with energetics and strategies. But it looks like they haven't posted since October of 2023. So I don't know if they're still active in the industry, but anyways. If the above isn't enough already, here's another reason why the space was so problematic. Every week, in addition to our weekly calls, the coach had these energy shifting calls that were so gaslighty. I remember having emotions come up for me because she brought me into a memory from childhood, and when I started crying, I was told to float up and out of the memory, basically told not to cry. It felt so unsafe, so wrong, and I felt so disgusting after that call. This was about 3 months in, and I decided not to go to her live calls anymore. Oh my God. See, this is the problem. This is why these people make me so angry. I did a deep dive. If you haven't seen that video, I would encourage you to seriously go and watch it. If you're not going to watch any of my other content, at least watch this video here. I talk to therapists, I talk to coaches, we discuss what coaching is, what therapy, where the lines get blurred, all of that stuff, because shit like this makes me so angry. This woman portrays herself as a business coach. We just read her Instagram bio. She's going to teach us how to build
a $100,000 business.
Why the hell, as a business coach, are you putting people through an exercise where they're reliving their childhood drama? It's dangerous, it's disgusting, and not to mention incredibly harmful for the clients of your business if you're not trained in actually creating an environment in which they can safely work through those issues. Because by the way, as a coach, you shouldn't be working through those issues. Just saying. Ugh, this makes me mad. I'm upset. And I'm really, 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 really sorry that you had to go through this because it's just disgusting. This person was also pushing everyone within the program to shift from offering a service to coaching people who offer that service and pushing the narrative that anyone can be a coach. Of course they were. And that if you've gone through something, you can teach others how to do it too. Wait, are we teachers or are we coaches? Great question. Oh my God. I'm so sorry to everyone who has heard this story before, but if you're new here, you don't know this. I used to own a yoga studio. That was my original business. I opened it in 2018. At that time, I was also, trying to do the whole life coaching thing. And at one point, I hired a coach along the way. I would call her like a marketing coach. And basically what I was doing is I was trying to create this membership platform where I would teach yoga and we would do mindset exercises and that kind of thing. And what she told me I should do instead is stop teaching yoga, stop doing the mindset coaching, and instead become a coach teaching people how to quit their jobs and open a yoga business. Even though if we looked at the numbers from my business, the part of my income that was purely just coming from teaching yoga was less than $20,000. So I don't know where you live, but I don't think there's anywhere in Canada that you could live on less than $20,000 a year. So to me, it felt so disingenuous to tell people, quit your jobs and become a yoga teacher, when I knew that I wasn't fully sustaining my income from just teaching yoga at that point in time. But this is so common in the coaching space that rather than actually coaching people on how to do the thing that they want to do, or rather than like telling them this is a bad business and it's never going to be successful, they just say, well, just stop doing it altogether and become a coach instead, because the money is in teaching people how to do the thing and not actually doing the thing, right? Not surprised. While I'm grateful that the anyone can be a coach narrative gave me the confidence to start coaching without coaching training, I'm now certified and not anyone can be a coach. Okay, good. Glad to hear that. It takes a specific skill like presence and empathy, for example. This coach, by the way, was trained by Tony Robbins. And after going through this experience, I thought the answer was investing in business coaches that were teaching feminine business. So I took about 3 other business programs after this, all centered around feminine business, and still didn't learn the basic business things until I was no longer able to invest in programs because of how much debt I was in. I think this really ties into the like sunk cost fallacy, almost like, okay, if I just keep investing, or I've already invested so much in all of these programs, if I continue to invest, eventually it has to work out for me. Eventually I'm going to learn the things I need to do. Eventually someone will give me that secret sauce that I need in order to be successful. And unfortunately, as we've seen so many times here on this channel, that's typically not how it works out. I ended up checking out a book from the library for free that taught me the basics of business fundamentals, and I'm so pissed that none of these coaches shared. I thought investing big and doing what these coaches told me to do was the answer to being successful faster. And I mean, that's how they sell it. I can totally see how you would fall for, sorry, I don't have a better way to say that, but I can totally see how you would end up in this situation because all of the coaches, maybe that's a broad statement, most of the coaches sell you on this idea that they're going to teach you how to build a business. But then I've heard so many times from so many of the people that I talk to that they've been in these programs or they've been, with a coach and they've asked a question related to business and the coach like freaks out on them or shuts them down or doesn't address what the actual question is because they either A, don't actually know how to properly run a business, or B, are like,
That's bad vibes. You just gotta believe in yourself, and that's how you're gonna be successful.
if you want to learn how to start a business, go to YouTube. Read a book like this person said. Watch my content over on TikTok. It's completely free. Don't trust anyone that says you can pay them thousands of dollars and they'll teach you how to build a business, because I can pretty much guarantee whatever they're going to teach you or not teach you, you can find on the internet for free if you just, instead of investing your money, invest your time in learning, or go somewhere like Udemy where the courses are like relatively cheap. Anyway, I digress. Hindsight's 2020. I know this advice isn't helpful for the person who submitted this story, but hopefully in listening to this story and in me sharing my advice, it'll help someone watching this video from getting scammed. Okay, the story concludes, now I will never ever again pay for business coaching. There are books out there with better information. True. There are organizations that offer business mentorship for free, score.org. Also, like most communities, I know in Canada, and I'm pretty sure the US have like small business centers that will help you get started for free. There are resources in many libraries and community centers for small business for free or at low cost. I know also in Canada, if you're a female, the YWCA is a great resource. They run free workshops as well. And I know this because I have hosted workshops for the YWCA before, so this is legitimate. If I ever come across something that sounds legit, I ask them if they have full or partial scholarships I can apply for, and I always make sure my partner is on board, because the worst part about all of this was having this looming financial stress that I felt like I had to keep a secret. I can absolutely relate to that. I think I've mentioned this before, but when I made that first investment in my very first business coach for $4,500, I didn't tell anyone, not even my partner at the time, for probably like 4 or 5 years because I was so embarrassed. And I just think now, if I'm ever going to buy anything, whether it's like investing in a program, not that I would probably ever do that again, but even just like, I don't know, buying a new computer or something, I'm going to tell my partner about it. If I were going to go to buy something and I have to like keep it a secret from my partner, that should be a pretty big red flag indicator that maybe I shouldn't be buying whatever that thing is. Just my thoughts for today. Yikes, yikes, yikes. I did just want to, get back into the groove of filming content for you guys, because that last video that I mentioned about the coaching versus therapy, it took a lot out of me. So we're getting back on our grind. We're getting back into content. I'm going to try and revive the subreddit as well. So if you haven't joined my subreddit, you should come hang out with us there. People submit content ideas. Appreciate you all for that. I'm working my way through the list. There's a lot. I just recently checked the reaction content form and there's like 50 submissions in there. So it's going to take me a while, but keep sending the stuff my way. Please. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to my channel members, particularly the Millionaire VIPs, as well as Tom, Zurify, Harrison, and Suzanne in the Billionaire tier. If you want to get rich, information on how to do that is available if you click the join button down below. Take care, comb your hair, give this video a thumbs up if you had a good time, and I'll leave you on screen here with the story of a woman from a few weeks ago who lost $20,000 to a coaching scam. So hate that for her. I got nothing left to say, so I'll see you in my next one. Bye!